Roll call, please.
Mr. Zajac?
Here.
Ms. Renee?
Here.
Ms. Wardell?
Here.
Mr. Kosis?
Here.
Ms. Lewis has an excused absence. Mr. Calhoun?
Here.
And Mayor Brown.
Here. Notice requirements, chapter 231, public law 1975, and is satisfied by a publication of said notice in the Asbury Park Press and the Coaster, and by filing a copy with the deputy municipal clerk. Would everybody please join me in a flag salute? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have public participation for agenda items. Does anybody from the public wish to be heard on any of the agenda items? Seeing none, I will move, we have no old business, we'll move right to new business. Resolution 1950, payment of payroll, payment of bills.
Resolution 291550, authorizing payment of bills. Mr. Zajac? I'm sorry.
Offer that motion.
Somebody like to offer that motion? Sorry.
No.
Offered by Mr. Kosis, second by Mr. Calhoun. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zajac?
Yes.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Trying to pick up, make up the time right now, so. Resolution 19-51.
Resolution in support of bus stops.
Would somebody like to offer that?
So offered.
Offered by Ms. Renee,
Second.
second by Mr. Zajac. Are there any questions? We're gonna explain what this bus stop thing is while we have the opportunity.
As long as you explain it, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Sure,
You wanna
so, the DOT actually stopped in last week, sent a letter earlier in the week, and then they actually came in to talk to me about this. We have 3 bus stops within the borough on Route 33, and the state's doing basically an audit of over 790 bus stops. 3 of them in our borough, they're already there in place, but there is no record by resolution that they were ever placed there back in the 80s. So the state is asking for a letter of support for these 3 bus stops, which are listed on the resolution. Oak Avenue and 6th Avenue are exactly where they are and will not be moving, but they have asked that they're going to move Brighton Avenue, which is pretty much close to the circle of 18 right there, and they're going to move that a little bit more forward, as you read here, for safety reasons. Because they feel where it is right now, it's not in a safe area for the bus to pull over and then for pedestrians to be getting on and off of.
So that's pretty much it. The state is actually finally getting around to doing their audit from 1980 and asking for our support in putting these bus stops where everybody's been getting on for the last, since 1980. Roll call, please.
Mr. Zajac?
Yes.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you.
Resolution 2019-52, resolution declaring surplus for sale or disposition not needed for government use. This is a Toshiba TV VCR combination.
Somebody like to offer that?
So.
Offered by Mr. Kosis,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Wardell. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zajac?
Yes.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Thank you.
Resolution 2019-53, resolution appointing fund commissioner and alternate commissioner. The commissioner would be myself, and the alternate commissioner would be Mr. Al Jardine.
Thank you. Would anybody like to offer that?
So offered.
Offered by Mr. Wardell,
Second.
second by Ms. Renee. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Zajac?
Yes.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you.
Okay. Resolution 2019-54, confirming appointment of delegate and alternate delegate to the Community Development Block Grant Committee. Again, the delegate would be Brian A. Russell, alternate delegate Al Jardine.
Thank you. Would somebody like to offer that?
So.
Offered by Mr. Zajac,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Kosis. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zajac?
Yes.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you.
Resolution 2019-55, resolution to adopt 2019 temporary emergency appropriation number 1.
Somebody like to offer that?
So offered.
Offered by Mr. Calhoun,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Zajac. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Zajac?
Yes.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
And Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you.
Resolution 19-56, proclamation honoring Miss Lucy Vecchiano for a celebration of her 100th birthday.
Would somebody like to offer that?
So offered.
Offered by Mr. Kosis,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Renee. Are there any questions? I would like to, I had the privilege of, during our state of emergency, Ms. Vecchione still turned 100 years old that day. So it was a pleasure to go over and see her. And let me tell you, she looks pretty good for 100 years old. So I'd like to read this, what I had the privilege of taking over to her. I believe she deserves at least that. Whereas Mrs. Lucy Vecchione of the Borough of Neptune City celebrates her 100th birthday on February 20th, 2019. And whereas Mrs. Vecchiano was born on February 20th, 1919, and was born in Connecticut, and family of immigrants from Italy, and is a resident of Coral Harbor in the Borough of Neptune City. And whereas Mrs. Vecchiano is one of 12 children and has 2 sons, 2 grandsons, and 3 great-grandchildren. Ms. Vecchiano was a housewife and also worked for Signal Light, making light bulbs, and her husband owned a heating and oil business. And whereas Ms. Vecchiano loved to cook and spend time with her family, and whereas Ms. Vecchiano was a longtime member of the Mount Carmel Church, now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Neptune City do hereby pay tribute to Ms. Lucy Vecchiano, extend best wishes for her happiness and well-being, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of the Borough of Neptune City, and a copy presented to Mrs. Lucy Vecchiano. So I want to congratulate her again for 100 years. Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Zajac?
Yes.
Ms. Renee?
Yes.
Mr. Wardell?
Yes.
Mr. Kosis?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis? I'm sorry, excuse me. Mr. Calhoun?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you. We now have public participation for any and all items. Does anybody from the public wish to be heard on any and all items? Okay.
Kelly Strassis, 3 Overbrook Place. I didn't understand and I thought that I was gonna have more time to look at the thing, but just the emergency, what was that for, the emergency,
The emergency appropriation?
yeah.
Brian?
Yes, between now and when the budget actually is adopted, the borough is allowed to do what they call emergency temporary appropriations. So 2 of the line items in the borough budget were going to be in the negative, so the CFO had to replenish those amounts. In the beginning of the year, a temporary budget is in place, but it's only allowed to be of 26.5% or 5% of the previous year's budget. So every department gets an allotment, but if it starts to go up, if it does go over for different amounts that have to be paid, sometimes there are accounts that have to, there are vendors that need to have a full amount paid, where, as in others, you only have a portion that has to get done. So these are for two accounts that were pre the 26.5%. So we had to put emergency in on the budget and to increase those line items.
So it goes over that percentage that's required as well?
That's the full amount that has to be approved at the reorganization meeting. After that, it can go over that amount, but it's for the overall, and these are 2 line items that are inside the budget.
Okay. And I guess I have one more.
Sure.
At the last meeting, there was some talk about meeting with the TFH people, and I was wondering if that meeting happened and what the response was.
Meeting has not happened. We did set a date and time. It will be this week. So hopefully we you know, we have some answers. We have Friday at 2. We're meeting with TFH.
Do you know who you're meeting with yet? Is it the?
I
The email.
do, yeah. We'll give everybody a full update as much as we possibly can at the next meeting.
They were bringing 4 people,
They're-
if I
yeah,
understand.
they are.
Including their attorneys.
They're bringing a
So
couple of attorneys.
It's a serious meeting. We're not just going to meet with the guy who
Yeah, we're
washes
not-
the floors of the plant.
Yeah.
They're bringing 2 people from their legal department. This was my understanding, that the legal
Correct.
administrator.
If we could say that, yeah. I'm saying,
Yeah, you can say
I don't
that.
know if we're allowed to talk about that, or, because it could become litigation or whatever, but we are meeting with their attorneys. I guess he's the CEO of.
Yeah, they were bringing
Well,
like
actually,
their
we're bringing-
their management team.
we're
We
bringing
weren't
a
just
team.
going to meet with the guys who were out here. They were
Well,
bringing lawyers.
Axelrod's the CEO, right? But
Yeah,
there's a
he's-
different owner.
He's the boss of
Yeah.
what's going on. He's the top guy.
So we have a serious meeting, and we don't yet know what we can do, but we will know
We
on
will,
Friday.
we will meet with them.
All right, thank you.
What was your address again? 3
3 Overbrook Place.
3 Overbrook Place. All right, anyone else?
Just want to remind everyone, brush collection starts again on March 1st.
All right. Well, I see no other. We need a motion to adjourn.
So offered.
Offered by Mr. Calhoun,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Wardell. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you. I'm gonna say it was like 12 minutes. These meetings should actually.
Yes, yes, I will. Brian, myself, and the mayor. I'm gonna go, I don't know, we're gonna just us now. Yeah, no, I'll live here, I can run.
They can't be mixed, but I think.
Oh, no, but we'll see. We've been taking it seriously, so it's a tough issue. It's one of the more difficult issues I've seen.
I never raked this thing, 'cause I really had one.
Yeah.
I got too late to season
Being mad.
Without having my.
Whoever designed this kind of sketch. Because